I'm going to go over some of the things that we would have talked about in our group meeting this Monday, but we didn't have a chance because classes got canceled. So the main goal of this meeting was to cover some of the things that we had talked about related to the core, and also to kind of start preparing for how we're going to do how we're going to make our schedules, and then how we're going to get those approved and have our advisor hold removed. So we'll start with the core and the freshman year core requirements. I have this PowerPoint that I would have showed, but we're actually going to jump over to the core requirement checklist, which is online. We'll probably do that in just a minute. And I'll show you that. But let's kind of just get started with the freshman core requirements and some things, and then what we'll do is we'll talk about how we're going to go about making our schedule. So for freshman year requirements, many of you guys, even though it's technically not necessarily a freshman year requirement, many of you guys have already either started or finished your natural science requirement. So for the science majors out there, Gen Bio or Gen Chem, Gen Bio 1 and Gen Bio 2, or Gen Chem 1 and Gen Chem 2 will satisfy your natural science requirement. If you took Gen Bio 1 and Gen Chem 1, that will also satisfy your natural science requirement, but you need to have an exception from the dean. So if you're in that circumstance where you took part of one of those classes and you want to try to get credit for it on your degree works, shoot me an email and let me know, and I can help you start to go through that process. For those of you who are non-science majors, next semester the perfect thing to start doing is to take a natural science. So that could be on your schedule for a non-science major. Now, another thing that a lot of you guys are probably thinking about is math. So especially for the pre-health people. The computational reasoning requirement is a great course to take in your sophomore year. For bio majors, you could take applied calculus, or for chem majors, you have to take Calc 1. But everyone can take Calc 1, so that's why I put it there. If you're a non-science major, there are a couple of other options. You have finite, and you have like computer science and a few other things that can check that box. Now, many of you have already finished Philosophy of Human Nature and Faith and Critical Reasoning. If you haven't finished one of these two courses, you have to do it in the fall of next year. You must. So that has to be on the schedule if you haven't already done it. Now, for the EP1, most of you guys have already finished this. If for some reason you couldn't register for the EP1 and you're a science major, then send me an email and let me know. Some of you have already notified me who are in this case, meaning that you didn't take an EP1 because you couldn't get it registered, and you are a science major. Let me know, and we can go about the process of looking for an exemption. Comp 2 is another freshman requirement that you must take. So if you haven't already taken Comp 2, you should definitely take that next semester and have that on your schedule. And then the history, social science, and fine arts, these are perfectly good courses to take if you haven't already taken them for next semester. So these are the classes that you basically, all of these boxes should be checked by next semester, at least if started. Now, a couple of things to think about as we're going through here. So if you dropped Gen Chem or Gen Bio and you are pre-health, you should think about taking a summer course. You may be able to get away with not having to take it by number of credits, but if you take a summer course this summer, that may allow you more flexibility as a junior or senior to take another course. So my recommendation would be to take a summer course if you dropped out of one of those two courses. Now, for those people who are non-science majors, the one thing that I didn't have on the previous slide is the language requirement. So non-science majors or people who are switching out of science majors, if you haven't started the modern language requirement already, I have to see that on your schedule. So by the fall of your sophomore year, you have to be either taking a language or have started it. So definitely you'll want to take that if that applies to you. Another thing too is at this point, you're probably, if you're thinking about changing out of pre-health, you probably want to contact Dean Beer, if you haven't already done so, to get that done officially. So that way you're put into the correct advising pool for next year. And another thing that all of you should start thinking about is declaring a major. The reason why you'll want to think about declaring a major is because you'll get better advising next semester. So if you declare a major and you're, like, for example, a bio or an English major, instead of going into core advising, you'll get an advisor in your home department. So that's a really good thing to have, because then they can tell you what courses you should take. Another thing with declaring a major that's helpful is when you declare a major, you can get advice right now on what classes you should take for next semester, right? So like if you want to be an English major, you should go to the English department now and tell them you want to do that, and then they can give you feedback on what classes to take. So definitely start thinking about declaring a major. All right, so how are we going to go about doing our preparation for registering, since we can't meet in person the week after we get back from spring break? So what we're going to do is we're going to jump onto Blackboard, and this is our course page. And in the content section, there's a couple of things that will be helpful to you. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to the FCRH Core Curriculum Checklist. This will open as a PDF, so you'll just print a copy of this out. You're going to go into Degree Works and just check off all the requirements. So, like, if you did Comp 2, you'll check that off. If you took Philosophy and Theology 1000, you'll check those off. Lit 1, you could check that off if you took it, whatever. So you check off all the core requirements that you've already completed. And you obviously have to have passed and taken those courses, or they have to be in progress now. So once you've done that, then you're going to you're going to take pictures of this or scan this in and email it back to me. So that's going to be one of the things that you're going to send me, is this with all the check marks. Now, one thing you should do is, as you're checking this off, and you're picking your classes, for core classes, you're going to want to start at the top. So, for example, if there's anything in this freshman section that's not been checked off, you have to put that on your schedule first. So if you haven't taken Comp 2, that's something that you're going to have on your schedule for next semester. The same thing goes for Literature 1 and your history and social science and fine arts. So if you've checked all of these off, you scroll down a little bit, and then you look at the sophomore year ones, and then these are the ones that you're going to want to try to get next. And then if you've gotten all of these, then you can go into the sophomore and junior year ones, which is the philosophical ethics or the theology or the advanced disciplinary courses. So, for example, if you haven't taken Comp 2, I better not see philosophical ethics on your sheet. Now, another thing that you'll want to do with this is you'll want to use this just to start picking core courses. So once you know what core courses you have to take, how are you going to create your schedule? So to streamline the process, I created this Excel spreadsheet, which is an Excel template. So you're going to download that and open it. Just give it a second to open here. Okay, so this is your Excel spreadsheet is gonna look like this. So it's gonna have a place for Schedule 1 and Schedule 2, and then it's gonna have an example schedule. So we're gonna kind of focus on this for a second. So once you know what core courses you're gonna take, you're gonna put those in first and find appropriate classes. So if you notice, what I'm looking for is like the course name, the course number, so HIST 1000 or HIST 1100, whatever. The section, it has to have a letter, so it'll be R and then a section number. The date and time, so you see Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 to 11, and then what requirement on that core curriculum checklist it satisfies. So here the history is understanding historical change. This person wanted to register for Orgo because they're a pre-health person, so they put Orgo. And then they put major/pre-health, and then they have applied calc, which is computational reasoning. Then they've got 2 core classes, and they put what those satisfy there. So how do you know if you have a good schedule? Well, first it must have 5 classes. So you'll notice the student has 5 classes. You'll notice also that all sections must be Rose Hill. So all of these have to be RO numbers or R1 numbers in this section. No Lincoln Center, no L, and no E for it to be a good schedule. The other thing is you should have a minimum of 2 core classes. There's pretty much no reason why you should be taking all major courses at this point. So you should have definitely a mix of major or pre-health requirements and core classes, with a minimum of 2 being core classes. Now, courses with labs like Orgo or math, that if they have a lab recitation, lab lecture, whatever, you're going to group those as one course. So Organic Chem is going to have the Organic Chem lecture and the Organic Chem lab, and those are going to be put in as one. You'll notice that I just have 2 for both of those. That's because organic is just one class. Even though it has a lab, that still only counts as one class. And then any freshman requirements that are still pending must be on the schedule. So if you're missing your Comp 2 or your Phil 1000 or Theo 1000, I'm going to be looking for that on the schedule, and then if I don't see it, I'm going to kick it back to you saying you need to put that in. So what you're going to do is you're going to put those in for Schedule 1 and Schedule 2. You're going to save it, and then you're going to email this to me also. So you're gonna prepare those 2 versions of the schedule and the template. You're gonna have your scanned copy of the core curriculum checklist with all your core checked off, and then you're gonna email me a scanned copy of the core curriculum checklist and the schedule template for approval. And I need this by March 24th. That's important. Now, if you want to meet, I will be available via Google Hangouts. It's just a thing in Google, like, you know, when you log into your Gmail account, there'll be this option for Google Hangouts. It's just an easy way for us to do teleconferencing at Fordham. So if you have a question about a summer course, you're having trouble with your midterm grades, whatever it is, you are not sure what to register for, you can't make your schedules, or if I email you back and say, like, you know, the schedule is not right and we need to meet, we're going to do that via Google Hangout. So all you have to do is email me. It's optional, but you can do it. You know, you're welcome to do it if you like. I'm around. You email me, let me know you want to meet. You just send me what times you're available. We'll kind of work that out, and then we'll create a Google Hangout calendar event. And then at that time, I'll pop in and we can have a conversation about whatever it is you need to talk about. So the main thing is once you've watched this video, go in, check off the core curriculum, the core requirements that you've already satisfied. These are things that you're either in progress or were completed last semester. You prepare your 2 versions of the schedule using the template, and then you email me both of those things by March 24th. What I will do is I will check them. If they're good, you'll get an email back saying schedules look good, you're approved, and then I will remove your hold. If I see a problem, I might email you back and say, look, there was a problem with this one thing, just fix it up, and I will remove your hold. Or if there's some bigger problems, you might get an email saying, like, you got to fix these things. Email me back a revised version, or we have to meet on Google Hangouts because we need to talk about some things. So, but the ball will get rolling for that on March 24th when you send me everything. So, if you want to send me things earlier, that's totally fine. You can get this knocked out before spring break and have your hold removed, and you'll be all ready to go if you like. So anyway, I hope you guys all have safe travels and a good spring break as much as you can. And if anybody has any questions, just shoot me an email and we can meet via Google Hangouts.